Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to episode 116 of the Boonie Breakdown Podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. All right, guys, welcome to this week's episode. We had some difficulties with audio for the interview I had scheduled for this episode. But what are best friends for? To help you out in a clutch. I really wanted to give you guys new content this week instead of not having an episode or doing a solo episode because I was not prepared for a solo episode. I hit up the BFF, Kenny, so he's here to save the day. I think this is his third appearance this season. So, he should be ecstatic. He can't talk shit. But we have a really good conversation, and it kind of circles around legacy and kind of those that, I'm not going to say corny, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like that quintessential stuff where it's like what you wish you would have known at certain points in your life, okay? So I had that discussion with Kenny, so stick around for that conversation. Pick of the week this week, all right? Boonie's pick of the week. If you follow me, and I think I've confessed this a few times on the podcast, you guys know that Eddie Murphy is like one of my all-time favorite people. Like I love Eddie Murphy, and I'm excited for this comeback. And so my pick of the week is Dolomite Is My Name. The movie was really funny. I enjoyed it. It wasn't that like goofy, silly funny the entire time, but the true message that I took away from the movie, I did not know much about Rudy Ray Moore and the work he had to do to put Dolomite out. But the true message that I took away from that was to always bet on yourself. You always have to believe in whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to push. And if you don't believe in it, no one else will believe in it. And just to watch how he bet on himself, and he even bet on giving up his royalties and masters for his comedy albums to put out this movie because he knew it was going to be a success. And so that was my major takeaway from it. It was just like always bet on yourself. And I could go on and on if I were doing a solo episode about that reoccurring theme for me this week. But yeah, so if you have not checked out on Netflix, Dolomite Is My Name, I encourage you to do so. But also, can we get really excited because I know in December, which is my favorite month, December, Eddie is going back to Saturday Night Live for the first time in like 40 years, I believe. And so I'm really excited for that and the comeback. I'm a huge fan. All right. Housekeeping. What is it? We're 6 days away for the Boonie Breakdown Live in Atlanta. I am really excited. There are like 20 tickets left to this show. I've learned a lot about doing this because this is like my first show that's really far away from home. Philly was a fairly easy lift. Atlanta, not so much, being a team of one. And I'm really excited for the show, guys. Some really good stuff. You guys know you're getting your goodie bag, so thanks to our sponsors, True Magic Wand, Vibertex, and One Condoms, Robbie's Happy Place, and Aunt Boozy Treats. So I'm excited for the show. If you are in Atlanta or close to Atlanta and you can drive for a nice fun afternoon with Boonie and crew and the ratchetness, come hang with us down in Atlanta. Like I said, it's 20 tickets left. You can go over to thebooниebreakdown.com/live to grab those, scoop those up. I really would like to sell out, guys. How cool would it be to sell out my first show in Atlanta? I just tell a friend. If you already have a ticket, tell a friend. Tell them to come with you to scoop the ticket. But we're going to have a really, really good time. So I will see you guys in Atlanta in a couple days. Feedback from last week's episode 115 with Brian, who will also be with me in Atlanta. At the end of the episode, he even jokes, hopefully after listening to that episode, we won't have any protesters or people coming to kick Brian out of Atlanta. But yeah, I was shocked at the number of messages I got from people who could not believe that they were actually agreeing with Brian on something. And so many of you were like, oh my God, his comments and his statements about trust. So many of you were like, shit, I agree. What the fuck is wrong with me for agreeing with Brian? So if it makes you feel better, I mean, as you listen to the episode, you know I agree too. Someone was like, Boonie, thank you so much for redacting portion of that message. I know it was nothing that we needed to hear and nothing that we missed. Kudos for you for eliminating his trash. So if you have not listened, go listen to episode 115. I did redact about 20 minutes of the conversation because it was just not necessary. All right. All right. We're winding down. After this episode, there are 6 episodes left in this season of the Boonie Breakdown podcast. All right. There are 6 episodes left. I am going to make a request. I am recording soon with our favorite astrologer, Miss Mecca Woods. So I figured this is a good time to have her come on as the year is winding down. We're moving into a new decade. 2020 is right here, less than 60 days away. And so if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over to thebooniebreakdown@gmail.com or head on over to thebooniebreakdown.com and submit your questions through the contact page. You can also DM me on social media. And please feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Boonie Breakdown. On Twitter, just at Boonie Breakdown. And when sharing this episode, when you share it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, you can use the hashtags The Boonie Breakdown, hashtag PODIN, PODIN. And if you guys would like to be so kind to leave those wonderful reviews, those wonderful 5-star reviews, I always welcome and encourage you guys to do that. You can do so on Facebook and in Apple Podcast app if you listen on any Apple devices. We got a new one this week, and it says, love, 5 stars. I love Boonie and her realness. Her topics are always timely and entertaining. So thank you to Allie177 for your 5-star review. And you guys should go head over, join her, hit those 5 stars, because Boonie loves it when you do that. So that is it for me. So let's get ready to break it down. All right, guys, it's your girl Boonie, and making his 3rd appearance this season. Woo! Look at you. Look at us. Look at us. That's our favorite meme this week. Look at us.
We ready.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's Sunday.
Like, you don't even need any introduction. People know who you are by your voice.
I know. Maybe people know my voice by now. I'm great. I am. My kids don't have school tomorrow, so they are with their grandmother. So I get to watch the game tonight.
Uninterrupted.
So,
you're really showing out today.
You know, God is good.
Also, let's just, as we have to, every year we have to do this. It feels like it's midnight outside.
I'm like, I was sitting at my grandmother's house today, and it's like 4:30, and I'm like, ooh, it's about to be dark in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm like, this time of year really does suck just for that. Like, it looks like it's midnight outside, and it is 7:07 p.m.
Yep.
It's absurd. All right, before we get into the meat of the episode, we have to, since you're here, Kanye West, Jesus is King album, just gave him his 9th #1 album.
Hold on, did that really happen? See,
yes.
Okay, see, I don't like the charts no more. I'm like a purist, so I don't.
You know, because of the streaming. But yes, he has his 9th #1 album on the Billboard 200. It is official.
Okay.
And he has now tied Eminem's active streak on Billboard.
Okay. I think he deserves to have that streak over M. That's just my personal opinion, but that, you know, that's fine. It's okay. He can have it. I'll be very quick about this album. So I think is it weird to say that I expected more from?
I did too, honestly. I really did, and I think too, because at first I was like, maybe it's gonna be a little competition there because Snoop did the gospel
Yeah, and he actually
album.
went gospel.
Yeah. So but I think it's because of the egomaniac that Kanye is.
Yeah,
He did not, because I was hoping to get more of the Sunday service choir
exactly.
because they really are
Yeah,
bomb as fuck. So why would you have this amazing choir and not
yeah, not,
utilize them? And then to have Fred Hammond, and that song was kind of a womp to
yeah.
me.
So the whole premise of I thought we were coming into this was like, him trying to create a newer environment for church based around like the gospel music sound. Um, and then we got this, and it took away from everything that he was kind of prepping us for the past couple of months. So I just,
Mm.
it was a weird transition to hear like, okay, we're getting like our old school like 90s gospel that we kind of grew up on, that whole feel, and then we got this, which was not anything compared to what he's been doing the past couple of months. So I think that was more,
Yeah, that was just really.
so that was disappointing. Um Again, I think like the worst thing about this album was Kanye. Like everything else,
But I get
yeah,
what you're saying.
everything
Yes.
else was tolerable. Like I could deal with it. It's all right. It's cool. Kanye was the worst part of the album, and I think like you were saying, like his ego kind of gets wrapped up
Yeah.
in everything. That like he could still make great bodies of work. Like I have the utmost faith that he could do it if he got out of his own way.
And which is
Yeah,
hard at this point. I don't know what
yeah.
happens. And just for people who like to know random factoids, the only Kanye West album that never debuted at number 1 was his debut album.
Interesting. That was a good fact.
Yes. Yeah, so that is your little factoid. Also, it looks like what they're doing too is making some type of conversion of streams into sale, like what it would equal to album sales.
Yeah. See, I don't. I work,
Now I don't know how you're
I
doing
work with
that,
numbers
but
every day, and I still don't understand how these streams go into like how they connected with the Billboard data. But I kind of get how they pay the people. Like I've looked at those numbers and tried to figure that out just to see how much
yeah, they make nothing off
Yeah,
streaming.
unless you're like a huge artist, then you can make a ton of money. But like,
Yeah, because you're getting
yeah,
billions of
yeah, if you're
streams,
not,
but
yeah, then you kind of shit out of luck. But yeah, you know,
yeah, that
you know.
sucks. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of a womp. Maybe I know he has the album coming out on Christmas Day because of Ego
Excuse me,
again.
what?
So maybe didn't you hear that? Doesn't he have one coming out on Christmas
I
Day?
hope that's a lie.
I thought he did. I'm Googling it right now because I thought he had an album. I thought I
That would be
read.
the most Kanye thing.
Okay, here it is. Kanye West announces release date for a Christmas album, Jesus is Born.
Yeah, I won't listen to it. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Whoa! We just got
Can't do it.
you finally found a
Can't do it.
line for
I'm not
Kanye.
disrespecting Jesus' birthday like that. I can't do it. I can't do it.
That
I
was your
won't do it.
line.
I won't
That
do
was
it.
your line.
I'm not listening to it that day. Now I may listen to it a couple of days afterwards, but there's no way that on Christmas Day I'm listening to a Kanye West album. Can't do it. Can't do it. Hey kids, come downstairs, open your gifts. I'm gonna rock this new Kanye while you opening your Paw Patrol toys. Cool.
Yeah, it says Kanye's declaration that he's dropping a Christmas album, Sunday service album, Jesus is Born on Christmas is coming. So, again, as we talk about his ridiculous ego, yeah. There you
And
go, people.
to
So Jesus is king and now Jesus was
and
born.
to all the wonderful listeners of the Boonie Breakdown podcast. I do apologize that I feel like we do a lot of Kanye talk, but you have to understand like the era, we sound old, but the era that we grew up
We
in,
old.
like Kanye was like,
He
yeah,
was the shit. And
so,
but I also think too, like I mean, he consumes so much of
Yeah,
pop culture talk, and so like especially if you're on Twitter, like he's in daily conversation as much as people say they
yeah.
have canceled him and they're not
Nobody
fucking
has.
with him. Like it's a lot of talk around him in general. And so I just felt like because we just did that last episode and this album just dropped, we
Yeah,
had to mention it because
you know.
I know somebody even tweeted like when I tweeted that I listened to it, they were like, "You listened?" I'm like, "Well, clearly you don't fucking listen to me because I said I
Like,
was."
absolutely. What do you think?
We said we were. So, all
Somebody has
right.
not listened to it. Absolutely.
I'm still going to Sunday service. And speaking of, a soror that I know in LA is gone and he's doing something at the forum this afternoon in
Again?
LA.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's there too today. She went last week as well. So she's totally in the into the Sunday service
Mhm.
congregation. So
Huh?
all right. Well, let's change topics.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see what you.
So this is funny because earlier today I just went to this event that happened. It was a panel discussion in downtown Baltimore, part of the City Brilliant Baltimore Festival. And one of our fellow TU alum was the host of this panel. Shout out to Jennifer Angushula. And it was great. They did a panel today and it was talking about accumulating wealth and um, establishing a legacy for um, black wealth and generational black wealth. And so it was great just listening to these amazing women who are all from Baltimore, but who all work in this space of black wealth through a number of different avenues. One was an economic business developer. Did she's done major deals in Baltimore City. Another one was an estate attorney. Another one worked for Chase, and so they offered great things. So I immediately called two of my best friends who have kids. Like, I'm gonna be on y'all asses. Kenny was one of the recipients of the phone calls. He can attest. I'm gonna be on y'all asses in about 8 weeks. I'm following up if y'all have at least started wills and trust and developing trust, et cetera, et cetera. And so it got me thinking about like, what do you want your legacy to be when you're gone? Because you have
Yeah.
children.
I feel like I've thought about this. I've so I really want my legacy to be reflected in my relationship with my kids when they're adults. And I
Okay.
think that to me matters, I think, more than most things. Um is that I want a strong relation, like I want a strong like I don't want to have burned bridges with my kids growing up, like with them growing up, that I don't have a relationship with them when they're in adulthood, where they don't feel like they can rely on me, where we have a good um father son relationship when they
Relationship.
are, going through that hard process of, you know, going going through college, getting out of college, going into the workforce, um, dealing with, grown folks relationships, things like that. Like I want to be able to be a sounding board for those things, um, and I want to make
Mhm.
sure that there's a foundation set for the relationship to kind of exist, and be strong at that point in time. So I think for me, like my legacy kind of looks like that. I think some people like look at it more as like I want to set my family up financially and things like that. And obviously I've thought about those things too. Um, but for me, I think the more important thing is the relational aspect of having
Well, I think that matters too because as somebody who is unpacking childhood trauma, I think if more parents were intentional in the relationships that they wanted to develop with their kids and what they wanted to look like in the future, just not like the
yeah,
now, like I'm stressed out, I'm tired, leave me alone, like I had a hard day at work, right? So I feel like if more people were intentional in that, there would be better parent child relationships as your children, matured into
yeah, and I
adulthood.
think that is the hard part, especially for me. Um, I guess I'm still considered like a newer parent. But I think you want like it's finding the balance of like, all right, you have a ton of stuff going on for yourself. You have work, you have to come home and you have to raise them, but you also have to discipline them at the same time. But you also have to think of the long term effects of everything that you're doing today because
Like
all
it all
it all
plays a
plays a
part.
part. So I try to be aware of that, but I will not say that I am perfect at it because it's just hard because when these kids are running around here, I am like you know, sometimes things the tone kind of changes, but um
Well, I texted you earlier this week and I was just like, you're a great dad. And I really do think you are. I think you are an amazing
thanks.
father.
I
So
appreciate
you're on
it.
the right path.
Hopefully they appreciate maybe they appreciate it when they get like 30 or something. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully.
I think it will, like, the older they get and when you start to see what other people lack at home, that you realize, oh, I shouldn't take this for granted. I think as the twins get older, they'll appreciate
Yeah,
it
and I
for
think
sure.
about it as well because like you have to like even at this age you kind of have to parent them a little differently as well. Um even they're four, but there are different ways that you have to deal with each one of them and I think about that like when they're 22 or 25 like how our relationships are
Mhm.
going to like how our relationships are going to be different with Malcolm compared to my relationship with Miles like that is they're going to look completely different. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think in regards to the legacy piece, like that to me is oh, yeah.
That's what you
That's
Yeah, I know. I keep thinking about that because, legacy when just listening to them talk, it was like, like, okay, I'm at the stage where it really is a true possibility that there will be no children, right? That's becoming more and more firm a possibility the
I
older
know.
I get. And so it's just like even listening to how the legacy could be shaped to the girls that I mentor or, whatever. So I guess I haven't thought about a legacy because I'm still a unit of one.
Yeah.
Um and so, like, listening to the panelists talk today, it was kinda making me think, "Well, huh, like, you still would have a legacy, it just might look different than you thought it
Yeah,
would
absolutely.
look." And so, starting to kinda not put a blue but starting to think about that in a different way in some of the moves that I make.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I mean, even if you don't have kids, like I feel like your impact can last longer, even in the medium that you're in right now. Like you know,
Word,
your your
word.
impact and your voice can kind of be your legacy as well. So, um, I think it can look different. It doesn't have to be like I'm not gonna say like, oh, I don't want you to have a child. I mean, that would be great.
We know.
That would be amazing. But
Look, 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 sir, that is TikTok,
time
TikTok.
is coming. I know. But even if you don't, I feel like there's a place for your legacy to be as strong as it would even if you did have a kid. So yeah,
Well, thank you.
I think
Yeah, it's just interesting because it's like I'm about to turn 35. You are 35, and it's like, fuck.
yeah,
Like, we are way closer to 40 than we
yeah,
are 20, which is
yeah.
wild to
I mean,
say.
it's weird. Like I said, like I mean, I've talked about this on here, but like the whole like getting yourself in order financials, like oh, you've had fun, these years. Okay, let's hunker down. Let's get yourself together. Um, like you're doing well enough in your career space that your money should be in a better position. So like those
Yeah.
things are like okay, let those are tangible aspects that it's like okay, we can make these changes short term pain to make sure that you're in a better position for that legacy piece as well in the financial aspect.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely something happened like in the middle of this year where it's like, oh my God, I am sick paying all these people my money. I want my money. And so yeah, kind of thinking about all that shit. And it's even though like I am sick of these a new decade in 2 months memes. Like this is the first time the fucking
Yeah,
decade
yeah.
ever
Like, why
changed.
are we
But
like
like,
saying, oh, like you better bust your ass these last 2 months? Like, okay,
yeah. And I kind of feel like maybe you shouldn't, right? Like
like, all right, cool. Like,
maybe you should sit
yeah, because
still.
I mean, you've already set the foundation for yourself. Like, you're gonna have next year. Like, nothing really changes when that January clock hits. Like, you're still here. You're still gonna be
Yeah.
working on the things that you know you need to be working on. So keep at it.
It's no point to like rush and cram and do it. Like it'll happen. So I just yeah, I kind of feel like take your time if you want to start making plans or develop out the vision, sure. But like these people acting like it's the
Yeah,
goddamn apocalypse. It feels like
yeah, I
Y2K a
feel
little
like
bit to
people
me.
like they just see it and they're like, "Oh my god, it's about to be 2020. Let's make these rash decisions." And I feel like people are gonna fuck up these last 2 months. Like, "Oh my god, I need to have made an impact in the 2010s. All right, let me do something rash." And then next May is like, "God damn, I ain't got no cash." Like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
no, it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
just feel like
yeah,
just chill out. It'll happen. Like don't sit there and not do anything. But like just relax a little bit.
yeah,
You got time. You got a little time. Yeah. But I just laugh. Like it really does feel a little Y2K-ish
yeah.
to me a little bit
Like,
now.
I honestly, like,
Yeah, I
I
don't
didn't realize it. Like, oh, until people started posting these things. Like, oh yeah, it's about to be 3 months. So
I didn't
yeah,
realize it was a new
like,
decade either.
let me tell you, the only reason that I have been aware is because I've been prepping my list for my albums and my music.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, we can go ahead and announce you'll have your
I will.
fourth appearance this season on the Boonie Breakdown. We'll be
We're like,
doing our top albums of
yeah.
2019.
But
That episode
yeah,
will be in
but yeah, no,
December.
like, so that's the only reason I've actually focused on the 2010s is from a musical aspect. But that's other than that, I'm like, all right, 2020 is gonna be here. We cool. Let's make it happen. So
So now I'm gonna ask you like a few little questions. I'm gonna answer two because, of course, why wouldn't I? But kind of when you know those things where it's like, what you wish you knew before, blah blah blah. So, what is something that you wish you had knew before you started college?
before I started college, hmm. I would say before I started college, I wish I would have known that I didn't need to get a business major to work in finance. And
Mm.
I wish I would have actually done a major that I really wanted to instead of what I thought was the ideal major. So I would say that. I think it was more of like
Hmm.
understanding like what you need to be successful in the world and not just taking, you know, thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go and get a business degree and that's just gonna lead to everything. Um, when like I kind of knew what I wanted to do and I just didn't do it. I probably would have not gotten a business degree. I probably would have.
So, what would you have gotten?
So I would have gotten a nursing degree and I would have been a hospice RN. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
Okay.
kind of specific, but
Very
uh,
specific. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
Oddly, I
yeah.
see it
So I would
though.
have been I would have been an RN for a hospice facility. That is really what I would have wanted to do. Um, but then I kind of, you get to school and you lose track, and you know, things like that kind of take you away from what you wanted to do, and then you ain't paying to go back.
Then you.
So
That was my biggest mistake. Yeah, I think before college, what I wish I would have known was that like you didn't have to go to college. And or immediately go to college. I think kids today have this amazing luxury of a break year and gap years. Like, I literally was
My kids won't do that.
16 picking what college I wanted to go to, right? And I think I probably would have been someone who could have benefited from still applying to colleges but delaying the admission a year. Yeah, because then I think I was so like I wanted to be an
Hmm.
engineer and I was applying to engineering colleges. And even at Temple, I eventually changed because I took like I think I looked at the curriculum or something. Again, I'm 17 and I was like, "Oh my god, civil engineers are terrible. Like this is so fucking boring. I don't want to do this shit." And then I changed to business. I didn't explore no other types of engineering. I didn't look at any other science shit. I was just like, "Oh, business, that's it. Okay."
Yeah.
And so I think too because I am a math and science nerd, um I totally wish I would have done something with genetics, genetic counseling or something like that. But nobody steered me in that direction. They were just like, "All right, you can change your major." Into the Fox
Yeah.
School of Business I went.
So
But
I think here's the thing. Here's where our legacy lies. Like I think we're able to teach the next generation of kids, especially my kids, coming up, that you know either like if you're gonna go to college, we're gonna do something that you actually need to go for.
yeah, like cause otherwise, like, Malcolm or Miles, one of them could make six figures being a goddamn electrician, right? Like
Exactly.
so yeah, it's like I just feel like the decision making around that whole process
Yeah,
could have been
definitely.
different.
I completely 100% agree with that.
All right, what's one thing you wish you knew before you voted for the
Before I
first time?
voted for the first time, man, that's a good question. Um, Man, so like I volunteered for like John Kerry's election, so I was kind of like involved. Um, hmm. I think I was. Yeah,
I know
I think
mine. Go ahead.
I wish that. Let me let you answer that. Let me think about that for a second.
Okay, so I think for mine for the first time before I voted for an election, two things. One, that local
Hmm.
elections kind of matter more. Because we were in Philly. Somehow I voted in Philly, but I probably should have voted in Maryland. I don't know how that
Yeah.
worked, but because I didn't do an absentee, but I definitely remember going
We had
downstairs in my apartment
we had
building and just voting because
our residency was in Philadelphia. That's how we voted. Yeah, yeah,
oh, was it because of school? Okay,
yeah.
because I'm like, how did that work? I don't know. Okay, so yeah, so I did that, but like I really remember being in the voting booth and being like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know about none of those ordinances, things that was on there
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
funding. I just thought I was going in there to vote Kerry or Bush. I had no idea nothing else was like, I just didn't know. And so now I remember that feeling that first time going in the booth. So now when they mail those ballots
Okay.
home to me, like the sample ballot, like I actually go look up those questions like, am I gonna give y'all vote for y'all to get
Yeah.
$17 million for new trash
Hey,
cans?
listen,
Like
you paying for it? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I think that's what I wish I knew. Like all that other
Mm.
stuff matters too. So
So
yeah.
yeah, I think I wish no, ooh, people might come at me. So no. I don't think it's
Uh-oh.
that bad. And I hope, I hope that everyone at this point in life thinks about this in the same way as well. Um, Not all candidates are worth your vote. Um, like John Kerry
Mm.
was he was a terrible candidate,
He was trash.
but I'm sitting
Yeah.
and I'm doing phone banks, and obviously, I mean, we wanted at that point in time to get um, Bush out, so I understand what the purpose was, but um, at that point, I don't think I was as involved in the primary process um, to understand. I don't even remember voting for primary, to be honest with you, at that first time. I remember, I remember voting during the general.
Yeah.
I remember volunteering prior to the general, but before that, I don't remember doing anything for the primary. So I think that whole voter die campaign that we had kind of going on during that period of time, I don't know if that, I think that more jumped off during the general cycle. I don't even,
Okay.
I think that would probably be the more important thing.
That seems like
Yeah.
eons ago.
Well,
Vote or die.
I still got
Jesus,
my
I
t-shirt.
forgot about that. I still have my
Yeah.
Barack the Vote
Um,
T-shirt.
yeah. So for me, yeah, no, I didn't vote for Trump, and I did vote for Hillary. So I don't want y'all thinking this, but I do think that we need to be more um, critical of our candidates, and I think we need to be more critical of the needs of our people as well when it comes to our candidates, and not be.
So, and not just
I would
voting
completely agree.
party. Yeah, that's fair enough. Because I know I did that at least with the mayoral election in Baltimore. That was my first time
Mm,
ever voting third party, and it was like I asked me who the Republican
yeah,
person was. I don't know. I mean, it was just this is just not a Republican city. But the name doesn't even. I know I looked at it because I researched the person, but I don't. I can't remember the person's name, and I just I was not thrilled
yeah.
with the Democratic
You
person,
see how
and
they're trying.
you see how that turned out. So, and we hope she's well. She's still in hiding. I thought she was going to come out for
Nope.
Elijah's
Can't show
burial and
face.
stuff.
Fed's still on her. Fed's still on her.
Still in wraps,
That thing is not done.
which is funny. Like, side note caveat, what the fuck is up with that shit? It was all
That was
types of
that
raids
was everything.
and
He got quiet, and
investigations,
she
and
became
now it's
quiet, which is why I know there's something else going on. Like there's no way
yeah, it's like
because
what the
there were
fuck?
state entities that were involved. There's no way that that just went away.
Yeah, I'm like, where
Yeah,
is this? Where is this investigation? So, yeah,
yeah,
that's politics, boy. You couldn't pay me any type of money to join that ball game. But that's how people are doing it because they all become fucking millionaires because power absolutely corrupts, which I am starting to
yeah,
become more and more convinced of. And I just feel like all these people are bought and paid for,
yeah.
and
Even the people that say they're
yeah, it's just who you piss off
not. Yep. Even
determines
the
if your
people that
dirt
say
comes
they're
out or
not
not.
bought and paid off are bought and paid.
They're all bought and paid off. All right, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started working full time?
Before I started working full
Before you start clocking them 40
time,
hours a week.
people at work are not your friends on a large scale.
Look, I got a blog post on
Yeah.
that.
No,
I'm gonna link it in the show
there are
notes.
some. Don't get me wrong, but like there are some that you obviously can build a long term connection with, but on a normal basis, the people that you work with are not your friends, and do not let these corporate cultures allow you to get don't
Come
let
on,
these
listen.
corporate cultures allow you to get caught into the hype that you can, go be buddy buddies with all these people, go out to drink with all these other, people that don't look like us, and expect everything to still be the same in regards to the treatment when you're in the office. So
So, look, that is gospel for me. Let me tell you, I will not friend people. I have literally to the point you can't search my name on
yeah,
Facebook. You can't find me. Um like it won't if you do find me, then it won't give you the option to friend me. So in order
friend with
to friend me,
somebody
you
else.
got to
Yep.
be a friend of a friend. Yeah, so they can't friend me. I make it very clear. They were one time in a meeting. They were all talking about, oh, on Facebook. Nope, because I might just call out,
Hmm.
and I don't need you to know what I'm doing. because I sat and listened to that in a meeting one time. The girl called out like, "Oh, she's out sick," and then somebody immediately
Yeah,
was like, "No, she's
yeah,
not. She's at
exactly.
blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
The fuck you saying that for? That's not your business. Look, them people at
They're
work
not.
are not your friends. Do not friend them. Don't do it on social. I don't even do LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Nope, none of it. I don't even like giving them
Yeah, that's
my
hard. I'm glad I
cell
got a
phone
work one
number.
now.
Oh yeah, now that I have a work phone, I'll be like,
No,
oh, you could text me on
nope.
that. But yeah, I'm like, before that, I was like, damn, is that rude to give your
Oh,
coworker your
nope,
Google
nope,
number?
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Because I really don't. That is a
Yeah.
good one. These people are not your friend. I think the other thing I wish I would have known, and I learned it very quickly though. But the other thing I wish I would have learned, or more people have, yeah, is that give them people 40 hours and that's it. Don't do no more. Do enough
Yeah.
to get meets expectations. I mean, and let me preface this. If you're somebody like for me, my career, my 9 to 5 was never like, oh, I want to have this career and I want to be a VP, and that's never been my thing. It's something that sustains me to provide me shelter and food and sustenance and all that shit. Because if I die tomorrow,
But
their ass is posting my job in
we-
2 weeks, right?
2 weeks,
So
a
I
day and
feel like,
a half.
look, but I wish I had like had subscribed to that because I think I fell into that cog
Mhm.
of you gotta work hard, you gotta put in these hours, you gotta be the best, you gotta do this. And when the time came for me to motherfucking shine, I got shitted on. And at that very moment, I was like, fuck all of
Yeah.
this shit. I'm only
So
doing
yeah,
what's required.
that whole
Um,
corporate culture is real flaky, especially the one.
I mean, it really is. It's trash. Like, and
Yeah,
if you listen to the 1619 podcast, they break it down in a way that ties the corporate America back to the setup of the plantation, and you will be sitting there
yeah,
pissed
yeah.
as
I don't
fuck,
think you
like
can
fuck
listen to any
all
of
this
those
shit.
podcasts and not be pissed. Yeah,
This is true
yeah,
too. This is true because you'll be like, fuck all of it. I don't know, fuck it all. So yeah, that's what I would have wished I would have learned
yeah.
because I'd have saved heartache there. All right, what's one thing you wish you would have known before you had sex for the
Oh
first
damn.
time?
Hmm. I had sex for the first time.
I kind of answered this in my episode with
Um.
Sheikah a little bit. By the way, did you ever listen to that episode?
uh, we talked about it on our Yeah,
Did you?
yeah. I had to because I felt like it would come up in conversation during the football trip. So yeah, I had to.
Was
Yeah,
it
he
positive
kind of,
things? What
I'm
was
not
the
gonna say that
conversation?
he boasted about it a little bit, but you know, it you know, it was more of a, yeah, it helped a
It
little
helped his ego.
bit. Yeah, it warmed,
It
it
warmed
warmed
his
his heart
heart.
a bit. Um, yeah, yeah.
Look at that,
Hmm.
Boonie helping people out.
Let me think. I
I just
had
knew you
to.
were never gonna listen to that episode.
And I was right because it came up in conversation. So um, I'm glad I did.
And the
You're
third
right.
party
Yes.
brought it up,
Yeah.
didn't they?
So um, I
I
think
knew
mine
it.
is probably like pretty simplistic. I think I probably would have not. So the first time was on a floor. Um, and I probably like it just wasn't. It wasn't. It was odd. Put it like that.
I wish you could see my face.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. It was yeah. It was I probably would not have done it that way during the first time. Put it like that.
Okay. Well, I'll just regurgitate if you have not listened to episode what was that 112 with Sheikah. It's all about our first times. I just wish I had known it hurt so much. I really do wish somebody like people said it like you're gonna hurt, but I just was not prepared
Got you.
for
Okay.
the initial thrust. And that's what I was not prepared for that initial thrust. I remember the moment. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. And I was like, oh wait, God, it's more. Okay, so that part, I was like, no, this really, really hurts. And I think too, the other thing is, I wish somebody had told me that it's gonna burn when you pee
Yeah,
afterwards.
I don't know.
So, yeah, those are the things no one tells you. But I will be sure to tell people. I don't have no. I guess I could tell Kim's daughter.
Like,
We can't tell Malcolm and Mouse.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Like what, Auntie A? What is something you wish you knew before you bought a house?
I'd say, I think just the random things that cost money, like the side things that cost money.
Okay.
Like you could just leave your house being normal, or you could spend money on it and kind of make it a home, and that all cost money. So I guess the additional costs that kind of come into it, um, the fact that you're always spending money around things that are on your home, that you kind of have to figure out some kind of way to budget for it. Like you budget, obviously for the basic costs, but then all the additional things that come in that you have to kind of provide for the home, or like get things fixed, or you know
Yeah.
get heating checked, or your AC, or things like that. And clearly none of the stuff is ever planned for, or like it's not on the time basis that you would like. So then you're just like, oh, okay, I didn't plan for that. Thanks, house. I love you, but
Yeah,
you know,
I think for me, um, yeah, I think for me, I wish I would have known like it's gonna take time for you to like get it to look the way you want it to look. So
yeah,
like I was blessed in the sense that I was able to find something where I could just move right in. So I didn't have to worry about painting or whatever. But I've been in my house now almost 9 years. And just like your style with clothes changes, like I feel like that's where I am now, where I'm like, oh, all right, I've been here. Like I want it to look like my style now. And so I guess the thing is like, you know, it's gonna take time to have all the things, the furniture and pieces you want, but
hmm
also in picking stuff, don't always go the cheap route if it's something that you really think it's gonna last a while.
yeah, for sure, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead and spend the money. And that's like with anything, but like go ahead and spend the money. And so yeah, that's where I am now. It's like I'm like committed to doing my guest room finally on a budget. And I'm gonna do my bedroom in like the spring.
okay.
But like I'm gonna set a budget. I've been on Pinterest, like pitting stuff to boards to stay on budget. So yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the hard part. You'll like go into a store and you'll see something like, damn, I really want this, but then you're like, nah, I didn't budget for that. So should
Yeah,
I
because
get
I
it?
mean some of this stuff is like expensive. Especially with
Yeah,
my taste. Like I'll look at something, I'll be like, oh my god, that's so bomb. And then I'll click it and I'm like, oh, that was Pottery Bond, so it's $1,500. Like
yeah. I don't even look at stores like that. So
yeah. I wish I had CB2 money. But apparently Instagram thinks I do because that's all the ads I see. Um what is one thing, and we're gonna end on a somber note.
so
What is one thing you wish you knew before you lost a grandparent?
dang. Hmm. That's
That one's tough, ain't it?
Um, Man, I w- okay. So here's a couple. So I'll say a couple things. So I wish we would have had kids earlier, so that her grandma and my granddad would have had more time. Or,
Mm-hmm.
her grandma got a couple of months. My granddad died right before the kids were born.
Born, yeah.
So I think I would have wanted to give them the experience of having the kids around. Um,
Okay.
but I think one thing that I want to do with my grandma is like start videotaping, or like
Mm-hmm.
videotape stories, and like videotaping conversations and things like that. Um, that I probably definitely would have been beneficial for my grandfather. Um, but I want to be able to do that with my grandma. So I wish I would have done more of that. And I'm not like a big picture taker or anything like that, but just more of like more capturing the moments and capturing the stories and the lessons and things. I mean, I remember a lot of them, but obviously you want to be able to hear, like if you,
Yeah. To pull it up
yeah,
in yeah.
hear the voice, hear the story, things like that. Um, that probably would have been, which I had the opportunity to, but I think during the process of him like aging, I think the focus wasn't on like, all right, let's do this. It's more like, okay, let's try to get the health better.
Yeah.
The signs were there. It was not gonna, it wasn't gonna get better. So, you know, that is a somber note, but yeah, I probably.
It is. No, I think mine is would have been similar. I wish that because technically I have no biological grandparents are alive now.
Hmm.
Yeah, all four of my biological grandparents are deceased. And so all I had left is Pop Pop. And even though Pop Pop isn't biological, he's the grandfather. I know he was Granny's second husband, but they got married a year before I was born. So he's like what I know. And he's 86 and still living alone and he's good. But with Granny in particular, I wish I had, like you said, documented
Yeah.
more. She did not like taking pictures.
Yeah.
So, once, and I wish I had done it before the illness took
Yeah.
over. Because at that point it was just too late. She didn't look like how Granny looked. Um, and when I started trying to get her to write recipes down, the recipes I couldn't even like read the handwriting because the illness was just too far
Mhm.
gone. Um, so like you said, that kind of stuff. So it's certain things like I remember on my DVR when Pop Up got shot, I had the video clip from the news
Oh
like
yeah.
saved on my DVR and I forgot that setting. Like once your DVR got too
Yeah.
full, it wipes out the old stuff. And I remember one day I went to go watch it. Like I would just watch it randomly and it was gone and I was like
Yeah.
devastated. Fuck. So I wish I had cause one of the few videos I still had where she looked like
Sure.
herself. So it was like, I
What
wish
you
I did that more because we got the fucking technology. So it's like, Jesus, why didn't I do it? Um, but yeah, I think that would have been my thing too. But I spent a lot of time with her, so it's not that I don't like I wanted to spend more
Yeah.
time. It wasn't
Mm.
that. It's just I wish I had more things to look back
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, for me, like, I mean, it probably would have been nice because my kids have a middle name that's reflected from my granddad. So it would have been nice to have like, videos to kind of like show them so they know who he is. They've seen pictures of him. They kind of know, kind of what's going on with that. But it would have been nice if there would have been like, documentation, video documentation I could have had for them. But, you know, you learn. You learn. Yeah.
Yeah. At least you still have a chance to do it with your
Yeah.
grandmother, so
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
All right, we can't end on that note. So last one, and briefly, what did you wish? What did you wish you knew before you fell in love? I guess we could say for the first time, or you could pick because you have a wife.
I'm like, uh,
I guess you should pick your wife.
I will say that there's nothing wrong with verbally showing or verbally telling someone how much you love them. There's nothing that is there's nothing what I don't even know what the best word to say. Like there's nothing that is like yes, it's a vulnerable space, but it's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it, and trust me, I'm still working on it. But because that piece is not my strong suit, but I don't think that there is nothing wrong with being willing to express how much you care for somebody. So.
I like it. I'm gonna say, what I was talking about love for the first time. You'll love again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's what I wish I would have knew. Pack it up, sister. Move on.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Well, look, it's not me to. Yeah. All right. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Hey.
Thanks, Kenny. Look, Kenny saved the day because I opened this audio and I said, "Oh, Lord knows I got to send this off to get it back because I could not do nothing with that, and I was not prepared for no solo episode."
Hey, well, I'm here. Hey, people. So we'll definitely be back on here at some point in time in December, like she said. If you don't mind, send
Uh-oh.
shut up. Send Boonie a message with your favorite album of the decade. I'd be very curious to see. I don't want like a ranking of like a Rolling Stone type ranking. I want to know what album was your personal favorite during this decade.
So what I'll do is I'll make that a question in this week's Talk to Boonie Tuesday.
There we go.
And we will collect the answers there and we will talk about them in our top albums of 2019.
It works. I'm here.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Kenny.
I'll holla.
All right. Thanks to Kenny for coming on, hopping up, and being the guest for this week. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Boonie Breakdown to send in your album of the decade and Talk to Boonie Tuesday this week. Also, Atlanta surrounding areas. Please be sure to scoop up those last 20 tickets we have for the Boonie Breakdown live in Atlanta, Saturday, November 9th at Peter Street Station. You can head on over to thebooniebreakdown.com/live. It's also in the show notes. Head on over to our website to get your tickets. All right. Can't wait to see you guys there. We're going to have a bomb-ass time. And if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or in any app that you listen to your favorite podcasts on. Don't forget to leave those reviews too. You might just hear your review on the next episode. Follow us on social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. I don't make those pretty images for nothing, okay? Have a dope-ass week. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Namaste. Until next time.